live from Portland. Yes. It's Friday night.
Hello, tea lovers. Joining me today is Lauren Danson from Mizuba Tea Company. Lauren, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So Lauren is one of my favorite matcha providers based out of Portland. So Lauren, if you could just share a little bit about how you discovered tea and what inspired you to start Mizuba Tea Company.
Yeah, well, my stars, that is quite the story, but here we go. Well, the very first cup of tea I can remember having is Constant Comment by Bigelow. It has a special place in my heart. You know, you got to stick to your classics. In high school, I came from a foodie family. My parents really into food, really into wine. And so I started learning how to taste things pretty critically. And I kind of realized, I was like, there's a lot more to life than Bigelow tea bags, like a lot more to life. And
at some point,
whenever I would travel in high school, my family traveled quite a lot. And I subconsciously would just kind of make memories and kind of remember my travels through the teas I had. All my scrapbooks have like tea bags from around the world. So I amassed this collection and started actually getting really nerdy about it in high school. And I would take online tea classes just for fun, you know, just wanted to learn about it, just the basics, where it came from, the different kinds. And my mom was a horticulturist, so I knew how to say Camellia sinensis when I was like 16. And then in college, here we are, I started hosting tea parties in my dorm room. So I went to a fairly small college. I went to Westmont College, loved it. And twice a week, I would actually end up having about like 10, 20 people in my dorm room drinking tea. And I would clear all the furniture, put a blanket on the ground, and I just wanted to share it with people. I realized that you could have a really good tea, but I never really enjoyed it as much as when I was sharing it with somebody. I could appreciate it by myself, and I could like get really giddy about, you know, the luscious liquor or the mouthfeel or whatever. But I just loved sharing it with people. And then fast forward, senior year, I had the opportunity to go to Japan. I was just visiting my salsa dancing partner who had graduated a year before me and was good friends with my family. So he was like, hey, come visit me in Tokyo. I'm teaching English. And I was like, yeah, I'll go. And so I didn't go for tea necessarily, but I knew we would have good tea there. I was 19 years old. And obviously, first cup of tea just blew me away. Grocery stores are kind of my favorite thing on the planet. Super weird, but I love foreign grocery stores. And so I noticed that like brand X of tea on the lowest shelf of the store was still 20 times better than anything I had ever had. And so my mind was just like, yeah, exactly like that. And so that was one. Number two, I just met so many people, just like staying with somebody and seeing his community, and like every relationship that I was introduced to or just, you know, really got to know the person was over a cup of tea. And I was like, this is what it's meant to be like, you know, just like the medium of it, you know? And then thirdly, I'm kind of going fast here, but I met a tea farmer. That was, you know, wasn't planning on it, wasn't looking for it, but it was provision. And I think a huge blessing, I got lost, which is how most good things happen. Well, it was my friend and my dad and we got lost coming back from a day trip outside of Kyoto. And on the way back to coming to Kyoto, we accidentally stopped off the bullet train at Uji, which to those who are familiar is like the location of like tea mecca essentially. And I didn't know that at the time. So when we got off the ground, we just started walking around. I very quickly noticed every shop was dedicated to tea, and it's like tea noodles, tea treats, tea ice cream. And I was losing it. I was like, best day ever. So I had a great day. But during that time, running around, I ran into a tea farmer and he shared with me matcha, and it was literally the best cup of matcha I've ever had. And I was like, here's the thing. I was an English journalism major specializing in Charles Dickens. So was I thinking about a business? Absolutely not. No. So that was my senior year of college. I was like, this matcha is amazing. How do I bring it back just to share with friends and family? I just wanted to bring it back to share. And I ended up going to grad school for publishing in Denver. And that whole time I was supposed to be a book nerd, I kept emailing this farmer just for fun. It was like a cool contact. And I didn't realize this is not how most tea companies start. Most tea companies don't know the farmer. Maybe I should hope they do, but not necessarily the case. But one day he was like, "Do you want samples?" And then Mizuba came to be. Yeah, that's how Mizuba started. And now it's been 3 years, and I'm my farmer's exclusive supplier in America. I try to go back every year for harvest season in April and May. This year we might have to go in July, but it's okay. Like, there'll still be fun stuff happening. But I try to go back to hang out with my farmer, and because it really is all about the relationship for me. So I obviously wouldn't be doing this had I met a tea farmer at all. Like, I'd be too scared probably. Yeah, so we go out to ice cream and lunch and hang out, and he's got 3 daughters, which is great, and yeah, it's fun.
I'm a huge fan of your daily matcha, but I know that you also have several other kinds of matcha. So can you explain a little bit what the differences are between them all?
Wait a minute, I'll go get some. Hang on.
Okay.
Welcome to the studio, by the way, guys. Come have tea with me here. All right. So, what do we have here? We have the daily, which Nicole mentioned. I don't know. Can you see that? Yes. The daily, I named it literally because I wanted to drink it every day. That's pretty much the impetus behind that. It's from younger plants on the farm, so probably most of you know that you can't harvest tea until it's about 5 years old. So this is just kind of our basic drinker. It's just really, really approachable. Would you agree? Man, I don't have one open right now, but if I did, I would totally show you. It's really, really bright green. We still, across the board of all of our teas, we still stone grind all of our matcha. So it's not pulverized by a metal ball. It's not like crushed. They are mechanized, but we only revolve the grinder about 30 revolutions per minute. So it's really slow. And what that does is preserve the cellular structure of the leaf. So the flavor and the nutrients aren't completely like overheated or destroyed. It's really important when you look at it nutritionally. So that's over all of our teas, but for the daily, it is harvested more than once a year because demand is high. But it's all from tencha meaning the leaves. That's what matcha is called before it's stone ground. You can't have matcha unless it's stone ground. Fact. So all of our teas are still shade grown for 30 days before harvest. So some will be like 2 weeks, but really high quality matcha should be at least 4 weeks before you harvest the tea. So we still do that. That's the basic drinker, just younger plants on the farm, and just really approachable and smooth and delicious. The next one, the house. House organic. This one has, complete with song. Sorry, I get really excited.
That's
our house, I would say, is our most classic Japanese matcha. It's very umami forward. It's extremely creamy, but also very oceanic. So you will get that I taste seaweed kind of experience, which I think denotes a really classic matcha if you get some oceanic flavor notes in there. And we only harvest this once a year. To get JAS organic certification, it's my understanding that it's really difficult and it kind of strains the plants depending on like how restrained your fertilizer use is. So we still use fish fertilizer, but it's very limited. Whereas this guy like gets all the fish fertilizer he wants. This dude, if we want to get the sticker, it has to be very restricted, and therefore we can only harvest it once a year without like completely killing off the plant. So that's my understanding. I'm talking through the flavor profiles because my farmer really does approach tea like wine. Like it is kind of funny to think that matcha green tea would be like, it tastes like green tea, and it does, but there are beautiful nuances in tea like you would get in wine or chocolate, and we're all waiting for the day when we can stop saying tea tastes like wine, or like think of it like wine, think of it like tea. But the main factor behind that is terroir, right? So what does the soil and the climate and the position and the side of the hill and the way you harvest it in cart on that. So moving on, we have our Nogomi, which is one of my ceremonial options. Nogomi is also certified organic, and we also harvest it once a year, same reason. But it comes from older plants on the farm, so it's got a lot more mature mouthfeel, if that makes sense. It's got a fuller body. This is our strongest matcha. It's extraordinarily robust. Like, if you want in-your-face matcha, I would go for this guy. So this one's been extraordinarily popular. It's just a very complete experience, I would say. Not that these aren't, but this one's just very tangible. Lastly, I've got my ceremonial, if you can see it, kokoro. Kokoro in Japanese means of the heart and of the soul, and kind of like the essential. We named it that because it's the first one I had ever, and we harvest it by hand. So it comes from really old plants on the farm and is just really handled with care. And I think a few people, recurring, what's the word I'm looking for? Reaction, a recurring reaction when sipping this matcha is it tastes like Japan. It tastes like pure Japan. Like, I am sipping Uji right now, which sounds so cheesy, you guys, but it's true. And it's just my absolute most smooth matcha I have to offer. The aromatics are kind of like Cadbury's milk chocolate, which I'm not saying it tastes like chocolate, but it's got the same like sensual, earthy, sweet, which is very nice. So yes, I enjoy this one a lot. I enjoy all of them a lot. I actually do have a culinary line. The main difference being culinary has unfortunately been really abused as like, here's cheap matcha, culinary, mix it with tough, which is really sad because like you don't want to open a bag of culinary and be like, this is yellow. Oh man, bulk bins across the nation, so sad. But our culinary is just stone ground coarser to stand up to flavors that you add it to. So it's very, very, very strong, but it's great when you add it to any milk you want for lattes. And I actually love making matcha salad dressing or hummus. I've made hummus, but cupcakes are probably more common.
A lot of people, when they first maybe try matcha, they usually have a lot of trouble their first couple of tries, a bit of a learning curve. What do you think is kind of like the most important thing to make sure that you wind up with a tasty bowl of matcha besides using Mizuba?
Oh, I wasn't even going to say that, but you're right. No, just kidding. I should hire you. No, just kidding. But yeah, that is a great question because part of my biggest value of Mizuba is that I want matcha to be approachable. You know, I'm not going to say, oh, you can't have matcha unless you have the whole setup. You know what I mean? But that being said, the chasen, so important. Please don't use a kitchen whisk, you guys. Okay, so matcha's powder, right? And as a powder, your job is to aerate it really, really well. So the chasen is really incredible because this is, you guys, this is one I've had for 2 years. So my new ones look much nicer. But the chasen, high quality ones should be carved into 120 prongs. 100 is also decent, you're totally fine. But it's carved into 120 prongs from a single piece of bamboo into that and then individually threaded. So the really fine tines work really well to aerate your tea into really beautiful froth. I should make you guys one. What am I thinking? But stay with me here. We whisk like this, really rapid M-shape motion. Don't press really hard on it, but just, it's on the wrist. It's just on the wrist. So, I mean, I would say that, but for people that don't have a chasen, all is not lost. The other way that's, I think, in my opinion, more approachable than using a whisk is by shaking it like a cocktail or just like a Polaroid picture, y'all. So basically, my Japanese family, I asked them, I was like, guys, is this appropriate? Like, what do you think? They're like, let's try it. I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, here we go. It's like, all right. So I made the matcha in my Mizuba thermos, shook it up, just a half teaspoon, shook it up, and I poured it out for them, and they went, it's better. And I was like, no. I was like, no, you can't say that. Are you? And they were like all laughing, imagining some like geisha person just like, you know, having all the beautiful tools, kneeling, like, and then just lifting the thing and going. Anyway.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to tell my readers about Mizuba Tea Company.
Yeah.
Where can they find out more about you?
Where?
Yes.
Oh, well, say hi. Well, my website obviously is a great place to go, www.mizuba2.com. That's Mizuba. But our Instagram is really fun. There's like tons of really tantalizing photos of matcha treats. You know, any iteration of matcha you can imagine. And I'd love to say hi. So you're all welcome to email me anytime.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.